Would you look at that? We got a brand. Hello, everyone, as we trickle in to how we buy number four. We have some of our incredible co-hosts are going to be joining us very, very shortly. Oh, look, a special guest, Mr. Barry
Am I
Hodge.
here? Am I actually here?
You are. Look at that background.
Wow.
Look at that background.
It's all AI generated.
Yep. As
Yeah.
is this.
Yeah.
Yeah. The simple fact that Barry's here is AI generated.
Yeah.
This is an AI, but I am a bot.
Yeah. He's an ugly ads bot.
Yeah.
Are
I got
bots sentient enough to say if they're a bot?
my bot is trained to always answer that it is in fact a bot, even when it's actually me. Be
It's the
hot.
training document.
I
Yeah.
am be hot bot.
Rock and roll.
How are you doing, Dilly?
I'm good, man. I miss you. I haven't seen you in a minute.
I miss you
My,
too.
my neighbor. Oh, I might be moving into a house that's literally down the street from you.
Oh yeah?
We could be
Oh,
like neighbors, not just like Brooklyn
I'd love that. You can come work in my dojo here.
or this dojo.
Where's that? You're at Dan's?
Yeah, Mark Pipe.
Yeah, I really need to come through. I need to really fucking
Oh,
come
wait,
through.
wait, hold on. Wait, give me a second.
Yeah. So stupid that I don't just go hang out. Like all I want to do is just be in my little
Yeah.
I have everything I need here.
Yeah. This is the magic of joining a
Guess
how
what? Another surprise guest came.
What the
Whoa,
hell?
let's go. Let's
What the
go.
heck, Dara? Why
I
am I
know,
not there?
I know.
Barry's like, oh, I should come work from the office sometime. I'm like, well, if Dara Denny isn't enough of a pull, then I
Yeah.
don't know what is.
Yeah, what the heck, Dara? What are you doing there?
I'm just hanging out. Needed a place to work and co-work, so I've been coming in here a little bit.
Let's go.
Well, you can
I
come
mean,
work
you
with
should
me
try.
here. I'll buy you lunch.
No,
They
it's,
don't offer you
Yeah.
that.
actually closer here. And first off, All buy her lunch. No,
Ah, see, Dara, I get 10% of that. You just got you a free lunch. I get 10% of that lunch. Save me like 5 fries.
All right, you can get the points. We'll use your credit card.
Oh Lord.
wait.
Got him.
Barry, I love your branding right now. I feel like it's really cohesive.
Yeah, we got it going. We're cooking now. The ad crate boys bought me this. This is
Good.
Nice.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you guys.
I need to
do
make-
it.
I think Alex is actually here right now. I just
I
saw
hope so.
I saw him in the part.
Are we actually live?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
We're
There's
absolutely,
people watching this? Oh
50
God.
people are watching this, so good for them.
God.
Oh,
Good
there
for
are
them. I
50
feel really-
participants, but where's
Yeah.
the chat?
Chat,
Chat
where are
is
you?
here.
No
We are.
questions.
Let's
Questions.
see.
I thought we were
Does
behind the
anyone
scenes
have-
right now.
Does anyone have a question for the legendary Dara Denny?
Yeah.
I'd be happy to answer some questions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got one.
Chat is disabled.
Disabled.
Well,
Wait, well, if someone said that, then it should be enabled.
There we go. We got Taylor Davies up in the house. My God, this is just a party. It doesn't stop.
Party. Does
Yeah.
anyone have questions for the legendary Dara Denny? Anything?
Yeah.
Adds?
Jesus,
Chat
No
unleashed.
sick.
Alex is there. Yeah, absolutely.
What's
We got
Sarah?
Sarah. Mufrod. Hi, Dara. Nice to see you. Quite surprising. Yeah, guys. This
Dara,
is
settle a bet. I got a question for Dara. Dara Denny, pronounce your name so that everyone can know how to pronounce your name, please.
It's Dara Denny.
Thank you.
Yes.
I know.
Dara?
I didn't say
Dara.
Dara. I said Dara.
Dara. No, I'm not accusing anyone on this call of getting
Oh,
it.
dude, I've heard a couple. I've heard a couple Daras, and I'm like, listen, man, or woman, person. It is not Dara. I have
No, it is
confirmed with
Amanda
her over voice note that it is not Dara.
Chase.
Yeah.
Hey, Chase, Sean's having issues. It says he's in, but he said he can't talk, mute himself, anything.
Okay, I will. I'll 100
Dara's our sit-in then.
Yeah, I'll fix that for him on the back. Well,
Yeah,
guys,
no.
really excited for everyone who's here. Obviously, more people will trickle in over time. Barry is here with Rotten Gummies to dive into some of his landers and homepage PDP. And I will let Dylan and Taylor take it away with Barry. I don't know, Barry, do you want to give us some of your links? You can put them in the chat and then we will start going over them. I'll have Dylan share and then I'll get Sean fixed up while you guys are working on this.
Make it rotten.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me give you the main landing page we're using. Where do you want that?
Chat it up.
In the public chat? I'll share it with the the post. Well, we'll see. I can send that to everyone. I'm going to send that to everyone, and everyone can go drive some really low value traffic to our page, please. Great.
Listicles, baby.
This is it's a reasons why classic, reasons why. And I want you all to know, like, this is a new brand. Like, we've only been around since like September, so we're not like super scaled yet. We're spending like, 1,000 to 3,000 a day. Like, we don't have that much data for us to. Oh, thank you for doing mobile view. I love it. We don't have that much data yet to like, do huge tests and things. So we're kind of just like going off of like gut and other things that I've tested on other pages and other things I know. So everything here is up for criticism and feedback. Like, I'm all for it. Like, whatever anyone has any thoughts or feedback, literally feel free to nitpick. If you catch any errors, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not perfect. I did a lot of this myself. So yeah, let me know if you catch anything weird or wrong.
Hey guys, best thing ever, Barry giving all those caveats because he knows that we're gonna roast him.
Please do. I'm here for the roast.
Yeah.
Oh my God, make me some money, guys. Make me some more money,
100%, guys. That is what we're here to do. We're here to make everyone more money, right? That is like 100% the goal of this entire thing. So I'll let the boys take it away. Dylan, you want to start with this one? We can
so first off, we call this New York love, which means don't hold back and make him as much money as possible while slightly hurting his feelings, but without hurting who I am. So Taylor and Sean are Canadian, so they're going to be super sweet.
Please, get rid of them. I don't want them.
We'll beat around the bush and say we're sorry.
Actually, I see two Taylor babies. That's awesome.
Yeah,
there's two Taylor babies here. That's sick. Sweet. Okay, awesome. So when you're first looking at listicles, so we can just go through, right? So 5 reasons why. Fun fact, the reason they're called listicles is that they're a list. And most people know that advertorials are those like third-party stories of like, how a supplement changed my life, and then it's a whole entire story. So listicles actually get their name from being a list as an advertorial. So the reason why this messaging to start is not proper is that it's coming from the us perspective. So first party language, meaning I, we, our. This is clearly coming from the brand. And a pure listicle mentions nothing about the brand other than maybe an image. So 5 reasons why these gummy worms are the must-try candy of the year. That's good enough to start. It doesn't mention rotten. So now,
by the way, Dylan, just a quick note, that is a new headline that just won test. The recent that literally changed days ago. The previous headline was why 5 reasons why freaks why I'll pull it up. I forget what it is, but yeah.
Sweet. So regardless, that headline follows proper, so not surprised that it's like going that way. One thing is that like, you have the reasons, right, where people are going through. So like care about what you put in your body. So it's like if there's value propositions, you kind of want to squeeze 1 or 2 of those in there. 5 reasons why, health conscious, again, I don't know your demographics, but 5 reasons why health conscious candy lovers are switching to these gummy worms, right? So now you're getting your value proposition baked in and from a third party perspective. So it's not like we're health conscious, we're rotten, you should buy from us, right? That's where a listicle in pure form, it's all about the copywriting. There's not much UX, unfortunately, here. So see why candy lovers are switching to this lower sugar gummy worms, that XYZ ABC value proposition, then go straight into it.
So can I also touch on that for a sec? by the way.
Totally.
I don't know if this is the format, if I'm allowed to, but
Yeah.
I actually like had to fight to have a less branded landing page. Like I'm the head of growth for this brand, and I still had to like shout out to Josh if my creative director is watching this. But like I had to, like, it was not like something I could just easily do, is like put up a very lightly branded landing page for this. Like the V1 of this was much more heavily branded, and I had to like really state my case as to why we wanted something that was scaled back. So like, I don't know, Dylan, if you could talk more about like why it should be less branded.
Yeah.
When if you were to go to the rest of our website, you'd see the branding is hardcore. Like it's black
busy.
background, it's dark mode website.
It's super busy. So listicles and advertorials, all you care about is the copywriting. There's not much UX. The design and feel are not there. You want people reading and scrolling. That's why you need your headline and subheadline to be on point and intriguing enough that they're willing to scroll down. So first off, this right here that has a human in it, I would test moving this guy here, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing of having a human in your hero image of the listicle. Super important.
I love that, Dylan. I love that so much. Thank you for saying that.
So that's number one. Number two, it's just about reading, right? So you have this woman who's loving these, gummy worms. Awesome. It's getting momentum into like, it's kind of like, we call it like purchase velocity of like intent per purchase intent velocity, but this is kind of like scroll intent velocity, right? If you don't hook them in above the fold, they're not going to go and scroll down. So a human is very relatable. They see that these gummy worms are what's super interesting. They're a candy lover. I would do something along the lines of candy lover, like in the headline. And then there's a woman there who's a candy lover, so they could see themselves eating it. So that's what's super interesting. So I would rewrite this to just be your value propositions. See why candy lovers are switching to this low sugar gummy worm that has the taste, keeps the sour, does the this, blah, blah, blah. No mention of your brand. The only mention is this right here in the hero image. Now you go into your value prop. Sorry, guys, I need to rip this apart, and then we'll get everyone's jump in. Usually I'm not this rotten, so your love for gummy worms, fruit snacks, and sour candy, is that a reason why I would buy these? I don't know. That doesn't really make sense, right? So it's like reasons why. Think of each of these 5 need to be value propositions unique to your brand. I would start with the low sugar. The second one, you deserve.
You would start with low sugar versus like gummy worm lovers, which I think is the, like, I think are the first people that would and I'm not saying it right, but I think are the first people that would raise their hand to try this.
I think, sorry, Dylan, I know you're gonna have an opinion on that, but
go for it.
I think the only reason that I would agree with that, Barry, and it's more so just from a communication standpoint, there's nothing about the image or the headline that doesn't already tell me that. Like, that's not new information. I clicked on an ad to the gummy worm product. My image shows 700 gummy worms. The packaging shows like, it's not a reason because I already know it. It is a reason, but I already know it, if that makes sense.
Okay, so then
it's not compelling enough that this is different than any other gummy worm in the world.
Okay, so then let me instead of it, okay, I love that. Thank you. So instead of it calling out that you love gummy worms, right, which is simple, right? That could be for any gummy worm, for anyone, good call. Like, you love gummy worms and you want to try the best, or like you only care about having the best gummy worm. Like, what, like that, I think it should be gummy worm focused rather than moving the sugar part up here. But like, I'm open to any of it, but I'm just curious, like, what you would change if you would just change this headline, or if you're saying just resort it.
Both. That I just don't think this is a compelling reason. Because like for me, for example, I'm not a gummy worm lover. I do love candy, but like it's not like gummy worms are like my live and die. I would be like, take the line of like, you love candy and you want to keep it healthy. That's way more of a reason to keep reading. It's like, oh, I do love candy and I want to stay healthy. So so it's like, let's say that's number one.
And that's in the ads. That's actually pretty well called out in the ads as well.
Exactly. So that's kind of what my intuition was, because the reason why you have listicles is that there's 4 reasons why someone should buy specifically from you. And like off the top of my head, just knowing what it is, it's low sugar, they're way more fun, they get to you really fast, and like, I don't know, another reason of like, yeah, exactly. So like, I can't think of a 4th one, but like, if I ask you like elevator pitch, if I shut this off, give me 4 reasons right now, Barry, why I should buy Rotten, like verbally, without looking at this.
Sure. 60% less sugar than the leading brand. Badass branding that makes you look like you're eating something cool and not some weird low sugar, thing like you're a nerd. It's super delicious. And I want to say the packaging is compostable, but that's actually going to be going away soon anyway. So that point is moot. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a healthier snack than what you normally have. I guess that's kind of hitting on the first point again.
Yep. So those should be your reasons.
Like someone said liquid death of gummies. I dig that.
It is the liquid death of gummies.
Yeah.
Like totally.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for sure.
Yeah.
Nailed
So
it.
you just gave your value propositions. It's as if you're doing an elevator pitch. The whole, it's 5 reasons why. 5 reasons why they should buy from you specifically. So the problem with this is that it's general. I feel like aside from, you only deserve the best, that could be any brand in the world that sells gummy worms.
Yeah.
You care about what you put in your body. It's kind of redundant to the low sugar. Well, actually, no, that's not bad. You could have lower sugar, looks badass. You care what you put in your body, the planet, whatever. And like, I would maybe remove this to 4 reasons instead of 5.
Would you?
Yeah, because you guys, like, if it's like the whole reason is these are all value propositions. They can't just be, this is why, like, it's like, it has to be like, the more specific the value propositions get, the better a listicle performs always. Like, I'd rather you have 3 reasons why, but make them super compelling that actually make these different than every other gummy worm on the planet other than gas station gummies, That's the whole.
Yeah.
I'm curious, by the way, like on this from Taylor and Sean, you guys focus a lot on helping people work through design. Do people come to you and ask you about listicles as well? Is this something that people ask for, like come to audit for regularly? And like, what's the strategy you guys think of with this kind of thing? Because I think what we're getting to is like, you're selling something, it's an elevator pitch. You need to have really, really strong value props to be able to sell them. Is there some sort of kind of like design hierarchy or thinking that you guys have here that you think is valuable, maybe for Barry to take away as well?
Yeah, I think to answer the first question, not many people come to us with listicles. And to Barry's point, from a performance standpoint, a lot of them do perform better when they're under designed. So a lot of my perspective on it won't necessarily work every time. I think from a brand perspective, kind of leaning into what Dylan's talking about, and when you think of this as a hierarchy, it's very similar to how we would approach a product page, a homepage, a navigation, anything. Stepping away from the page, Barry, it's more like if the customer only saw the first fold, what's the one trait they can't fucking leave this page without knowing? If they only get to the second fold, what are the 2? There needs to be a hierarchy of like, the most important thing about this product is X. If they only see that, it's okay. And right now, to Dylan's point, the first one is you love gummy worms. And that's not the one thing I want them to know about your gummies.
That's such a great point. Well, you guys can see I think you guys can see what I was trying to do. Not to be defensive, but like I clearly made a mistake here. And I was trying to just make it extremely relevant quickly to the consumer. Right. But like just want to telegraph it, but obviously unnecessarily.
To play devil's advocate, and I do agree with like the lead in is probably not the right one. I get it from a brand perspective, right? Like if it was Smart Sweets, for instance, like they don't have a brand, right? It's they're just selling no sugar candy and that's basically it. Whereas this is so brand heavy, so that coming there and seeing you love gummy worms, it's very obvious, but it's also kind of like, I get it from the brand perspective of like, it's obvious you love gummy worms, right? So I wouldn't have it as first, but I get what you're trying to do from a brand perspective. And it's like, when I look at your company, it's like low sugar and a fucking sick brand. Like those are the 2 things that jump out at me right away that doesn't exist out there.
That's it.
So having that branding element into this, which can be done in copy, right? Just the way you're writing, it comes through, I think is important. But to echo what Sean said, we don't do a ton of listicles because they're so design light, right?
I actually, I have something that we've actually recommended on listicles that, to be frank, I don't know if it works or not, but it's my opinion of how things should be done on this listicles. And I'd love your perspective on it, Dylan. So my thought is always like, for a simple one like this, right? Like let's say a cap of 3 to 5 items. Is there a downside to just maybe assuming that they're not going to get through it and lead off by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's like 6 words for each, exactly what you're about to read. If you don't want to, if you just want the Coles notes, like, is there, and to me, there's a ton of merit in just being like, I don't want to read all the bullshit Barry's marketing jargon. I want to know low sugar, sick branding, you know, not going to kill my kids. Buy. And then if they want to read the bullshit, you know, no offense, Barry, that's what all listicles are. I'm not saying yours. If they want to read marketing fluff, go ahead. But like, is there really a downside to just hitting them with it up front and assuming maybe some don't want to read the whole listicle?
2 parts to that. Number one, I usually recommend listicles to stay with extremely differentiated products. Gummy worms are a bit of a commodity. You might be doing it slightly better, which I believe you are, with better branding as well as better, you know, like healthier. So
yeah, it is a unique thing. Yeah.
It's unique, but with love, it's not that unique that I think a listicle or tutorial are the right route for it. I think audits, you know, 101 beautiful long form landing pages are actually going to be a way better fit for this type of page. So for listicles, I think if you redo the copywriting and the angles like we're talking about, give it one more try because it is different, and I think different enough. But the way that Sean's getting at it is like, you can just punch them in the face with info, and like, if they want to go buy, they go buy. The purpose of a listicle is that it's typically for products that require more education for someone to buy. So like supplements, health products, if you have a really expensive product, those a lot of the times, like think of a sofa, for example, like if you're going to make a $4,000 purchase on this page, they need to know why. They're just not going to go impulse buy a $4,000 product. And not to say it needs to be a high ticket product for it. It just needs to be something that requires education. So does Rotten as a product require a lot of education?
Yes.
Not necessarily.
It does, because we're using, like, we're not talking about a tremendous amount here, but it is, we are using, I mean, I don't think we talk about it too much, but we are using allulose. Like, we are in a specific like sector where we have way less sugar than Trolli, and we have a lot more sugar and less fiber than Smart Sweets and that other super low sugar stuff. So like, I could argue we're not doing a good enough job calling some of this stuff out clearly here, but I do think that it does require education, because what we are trying to get people to do is buy premium gummy worms on the internet in bulk. And like, it's really hard to do that when you can go to the gas station, you can go to your 7-Eleven, you can go to your bodega and buy a pack of gummy worms for $1.99. And we're asking you to spend at least 30 or so bucks to get started here. So like, I really do think we need to turn the education up. But I'm open to whatever here, but that's been what I've seen, and this has quickly helped us do that.
Hey, Dylan,
You just hit on a beautiful one, which is, it doesn't taste like those BS no sugar, no carb like gummy worms, right? Like those like super health conscious ones, those taste like, it's like, you know, number 2, like healthier without sacrificing the taste. That's possibly number 2. So it's like low sugar, you know, like it's because like the fact that you are above those like keto, you know, things or whatever, like that's another value prop right there, which is taste better than the other healthier options.
I would actually say, like, the bullet I would say here is, you hate how low sugar or no sugar gummy worms taste, or candy taste, right? Like the taste of those is awful, and I'm mad that I don't have that in here already.
So can you do, like Sarah just mentioned, a comparison chart? That's what I was thinking. Like on listicles, again, we don't do a lot of these, but my first thing is a comparison chart that also weaves in the brand of like, tastes like shit. You know, us, no, check on all the other brands that you're comparing.
Yeah, we have that. That needs to get added in here. We have that. It's on, I think it's on our homepage now.
Okay.
I don't think we have it added on this page. We just got a few new assets like that added to like our homepage. So it's on our homepage, and we also have like video reviews that are also on our homepage. I need to port those over to this landing page. So yes, 100%.
One more product related question, Barry. This isn't really necessarily Lander. I mean, it could play into it, but for me, like, I'm no candy aficionado. I barely eat candy, but I do have 3 kids. So unfortunately, I have to interact with candy a shitload. And the first thing that stood out to me when I saw this is I was like, oh, my kids wouldn't eat this because they don't like sour candy. Then I went to your website and you have
both
smooth version, like a more worm-like version. And
yeah,
someone who doesn't buy a lot of candy, I've never seen worms without sugar on them. It's not, you're not reinventing the wheel, but it's something that differentiates you, in my opinion, because every time I think gummy worm, it's covered in fucking sugar. So for me, even just the simple fact of when you show this product image showing 2 versions of the worm, not 300 sugar ones in the background, I think is actually a differentiator for you.
That is we have a split image that we can use that kind of shows both. So that's a good note. It's so funny because the reason why we're showing the sour there and we opted for that is most of our ads that had done better, most of everything, there's a chicken and egg to this, but for the most part, we've seen better sales with the sour.
Yeah.
And I think that's easier for us to market. I'm actually partial to the non-sour, the original. I have a bag right next to me all the time. Like, they're delicious. Not to say the sour isn't delicious as well, but yeah, like, that's a good call out. Maybe we are scaring people away who would just be into the original.
I also think, like, as a marketer for you, like, there's so much you can lean into because the brand does have that like skate honest vibe of like kind of like 90s skate vibe, and having the smooth version, like, there's so much you can lean into, like authentic worm texture, you know what I mean? Like, where it's like you feel like you're eating an actual worm instead of, like, obviously you don't want people to think that, but from a marketing standpoint, there's something kind of sexy and funny about that I think plays well into the brand.
Can you see the link I just shared just to the PDP for our combo? So if you like, so like that image which shows both, I don't know if that does it well enough, but like you can see kind of there's a tear behind it, so you see the sour and the original. So I don't know if this would be better or this is actually more confusing. You can X out of that.
I don't think it's confusing. I think one thing that we always talk about when we're talking to our customers about imagery is just taking a step back and assuming if a user was to see that image for like a split second, does it communicate clear enough? I think the background actually does a pretty good job, but it could be what the assumption you're making is that they're reading the packaging and seeing sour original or sour, whatever it is. Even just the smallest tag over that background that says, you know, authentic worm texture and sour, you know, fuzzy, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if you have names for them both, but like anything that just makes it even more clear, especially in a listicle format where they're already just scanning and you want to make sure that info hits like instantly. Okay.
So can you go back to the landing page for a sec? So you're saying in this hero, I don't know if I'd even call this a hero image, because this landing page does not really, that's technically not a hero image. It's just the, Dylan, if you're driving, thanks. It's just the image with the first bullet, right? So like, technically, we could add a hero image, but and I don't know if we should or shouldn't, so please let me know. But thank you. Good. I agree. But you're saying on this image, you'd put a text overlay over this to better call out what's going on.
Nope.
I would, I disagree with Dylan, but
so I love it. This might be our first disagreement. So the thing is the context, right? Because you're trying to explain why these gummy worms are what everyone's switching to. And if you're like, hey, like, so it's like, hey, but like imagine you're in a conversation with your friend. By the way, I found these awesome gummy worms. You should totally try them. And then like, immediately, like, it's like an MLM marketer that says you should buy them. And like, you know, it's like mixing the angle of the third party with the first party, right?
Mm.
That's why on a listicle, it can't be first and third party. An image can be a first party image of us and we. So you have a third party conversation at the top as the headline, you move to first, and then you move to double first with an image. So I would never in a million years, nor have I seen an effective listicle that has any overlay, because the goal is that they're reading this. The goal is not that they're reading this.
But I think what I was getting at, Dylan, is let's just pretend in this case, this is the first image, right? We're not going to change it. What this image is making me do is potentially squint and read all that bottom text, the headline, sour, rotten. It's making me read 40 words anyway. So in my kind of best case scenario, it's taking that image of the woman with the bag, go down a bit. So like in this exact image, what I would do for the first image, I would have her, the bag's in the image, and she's holding 2 worms going into her mouth, and there's a little arrow pointing out sour and an arrow pointing out the authentic worm, whatever flavor. And it's like 4 words instead of the packaging, which is 40. That's more what I was getting at.
All right. We got some
Like
stuff to
ugly
work on
ad
here
stuff.
for sure.
Also, Barry, this is completely unrelated, but we're in Canada, so we have Smart Sweets, and I can't eat them without it ripping my teeth out. Like they're so sticky. It's annoying. I don't know if your gummies are like that, but like I can't find any sugar-free gummies that don't rip your cavities out or your anything in your teeth. Like they're so hard. I can't eat them.
Well, again, these are not sugar-free by any means. There's still a decent amount of sugar in them, but it's like we're supposed to be that Goldilocks, right? Like that's where we're trying to be. Is we taste amazing, but we have way less sugar than the really awful, stuff that's killing everyone.
Dude, I would use that. That's gold, what Taylor just thought of, which is you're talking about the less sugar and the taste, but not the texture.
Yeah.
So good texture is another reason to buy that's unique to
I mean, how would you put that in the landing page?
I would do it in the comparison chart because it's so on brand to call out stupid shit that most people wouldn't, but like, tears your teeth out. Yes, Smart Sweets, yes, whatever. Us, no, or something like I wouldn't say it's a point, like a unique value prop that you push through everything, but it's just one of those brand elements you can highlight in a comparison chart, right?
But it's also a listicle is effectively a comparison chart without the competitors, right? So I think that's a baller reason for why people are trying these gummy worms, right? Which is like they're lower sugar, they're not like the BS keto no sugar, they're way more fun, they don't rip your teeth out. Those 4 alone are very compelling reasons to spend a bunch of money on these gummies.
Yeah. I don't think we can I don't think we're gonna go with the texture thing because we're not gonna say like won't rip your teeth out. Like I don't know. I don't want to open up to that lawsuit. Like somehow someone still gets their teeth ripped out. The texture, but we can talk about the texture.
So this is not a promise. We don't know how good your fillings are. Like
that's a good disclaimer. Good brand disclaimer.
Yeah.
Sweet. So on a time check, we just roasted this page for like 35 minutes, which is awesome. Do you want to moderate?
Let's do one more rotten page, and then we'll go to the community.
Well, I wanted you guys to look at the offer if you want to look at the offer, because the offer I feel like sucks.
Hey Dylan, for the people that are watching, what categories and brands do you typically recommend listicles to? Because I know we don't see a lot of like CPG products like this outside of like supplements that use these listicles, but I'm curious to see if like these would work for certain brands that don't normally.
My friend Barry, yes, Taylor, you're so right. So it's time to feed your freak. This is, you usually want a designed element as a call to action here. So now featured in, this is now getting away from all of those reasons. Now there's a video here. Now there's a trial offer. Now there's all of these things. Now there's these options. This is getting way more confusing the further I go. There's an FAQ. I thought I was reading just 5 reasons why people are switching these gummies. If you just switch all that around, typically my favorite and what I've seen the best results with is cut everything below here. Have this as a link to your PDP instead of trying to sell them on that page.
Well,
because people,
Dylan, I can tell you for a fact, without a doubt, that has done worse. significantly worse.
Cool.
So the thing we can test, and I would like to play with, what I do want to do, and what I've seen another brand do, is what I want to drive it to is to another page that has an offer on it, not a PDP, but a page that has an offer on it, or an offer. We actually want to do a multi-offer, like a pick your own like bundle, basically.
Yep, totally.
That's what we want to do.
I'm a fan of that. And that's kind of what I'm
Okay.
getting at, which is this is an informational page. This is to get people interested. Then go sell it. And like, you know, I say this a lot every time we do this. Hormozy always says, when you pitch hard. And that's something I say all the time. It applies to e-com as well. So
Sure.
if you're informing people, don't go for the kill. Inform them. If they're really interested, shoot them over to a page that's selling them hard. So I agree.
It's the same thing. It's you're talking about driving them to another page. Like I look, by the way, obviously, if anyone's listening, by the way, you don't know my relationship with Dylan is very good. I like Dylan. We're good friends. So I'm not like trying to disrespect you. But like I look at it as this is basically a full funnel landing page, right? Like we're moving people through the funnel from awareness to actual sale. And I have no problem with all of that being on one page. Like if I could put the checkout on the bottom of this page too, I probably would, right? Like I literally would want all of it done because it doesn't because it can work, and you don't need to send people to another page to get them to take action.
What about having it all on one page makes you want that?
Is that people can keep just scrolling down. Like I'm not saying I'm like dead set on that by any means, but my point is that like it's just something that people aren't doing. And some of my favorite things that I find, like when I'm exploring some other ways that things are being done, I've always loved the hybrid listicle into an overview. It's something I've seen work repeatedly, where it goes the reasons why, and then it goes into more information, and then it even has like a mini fake PDP built into it, with the products and the colors and the options. So like that's something I've seen work really well. And all of this depends wildly on how interested the audience is, and how interested the visitor is rather in taking action. And if it's something like this, where I would say this borders on impulse buy, I want to reduce the friction as much as possible. And to me, if I can get them to read that offer quickly and then decide whether or not they're going to buy it or not immediately, like I think that often is more helpful than hurtful. But I can't say that I'm
if
correct.
You want to go that route, great. What I would say is there's more than enough education in these 5 points that, like you said, that PDP buy box, all this stuff down here, I would guarantee if we looked at a heat map and actually saw revenue coming from these, there's so many offers here that it gets really confusing. Because the whole point of a funnel, right, at least when you're running top of funnel ads, is just get them to purchase the damn thing, let them rebuy again. I'm assuming this is a high repurchase brand. So just have, what are you waiting for? And one well-designed buy box, like audit style, how they would, with one offer that they click, get a 6-pack or get a 12-pack right now, have the rest of the page, they can go and check out and buy right there and go straight to checkout. That I've seen work as well, which is what I think you're trying to get at, to reduce the friction. So what number one, many offers creates a lot of friction. Number two, having to scroll further creates friction. So in this place where you're doing this first call to action here, I would just make this the buy box and ditch everything below it.
Do you not have heatmap.com installed, Barry, on this?
We do, but I don't think we actually have it set up to function on Replo because we're idiots. So
well,
it should though automatically, right?
It's filed with us. Don't worry, we got it. We got.
Let me double check. Let me log back in. I'll see if it's updated.
Yeah. So guys,
by the way, we added those additional products below it so that we could increase the AOV, which was kind of rudimentary, but it did. Like instead of just having the one offer, we saw a lot of people upsell and buy full boxes rather than a trial offer.
So you can just have them go for the box right away. Like if it's on the page already, like why not just go for the
because it's a higher price. So we're trying to balance like how do we like we want more customers, we want more growth, we want more sales, right?
Yeah.
We want more people trying the product. But like more people are likely to try a $20 product than a $30 product or $35 product. So like that's what we're trying to balance.
I wouldn't be scared to go for the higher AOV. I wouldn't.
All right.
All right, let's move on. Maybe
Thank you, guys.
we go to the audience. Since we've done this, we did the offer, and Barry milked us for all that we're worth at this point. So we can give some. So okay, so first thing we had Connor come to us early in the session. Very smart, Connor. So I'm gonna put this for host
Here,
panelists.
brand,
Here we go. It's called Grand Curated Liquids. You see that one, Dylan?
sir.
Okay, we are going there, and then we will go to.
Is there a specific page, or do you want us to rip apart the homepage?
He said homepage. Just this
Cool.
one. That's what he gave us.
Awesome. So am I fair to assume that this is where you're sending your traffic to?
Oh, he said Grand Cru Wines. He said this one. He gave us another one.
Cool.
There we
Sweet.
go.
First off, how the heck am I supposed to read that?
Yeah,
It hurts my eyeballs.
yeah, big time.
So I think Sean, last time we did this, you mentioned was it a gradient of opacity, like that it got darker as it went down?
Yeah, I mean, there's 100 ways you can do this. I think the easiest way is, and this goes back to design hierarchy again, like they're on a page that's a collection of wines. The wine bottle in the background isn't adding value. They clicked on a wine ad, they're on a wine site, there's a bunch of wine bottles below. I don't need to be communicated that this is wine. So from just on a mobile perspective, if you have to have all this text, I mean, just don't have a background image. That's the easiest way. And then also never have a link be the first thing they see on page before the products.
That's, yeah, instant money printer. If you get rid of this, like all of this, I always recommend on a collections page, never let it be more than 20% that image up top. So you could have Grand Cru Wines, have this right here, but this is what they should be seeing. So one rule of collections pages, you want to see 4 products the second they land on the collections page. So the fold must be here at the lowest, at the worst, right? So they see that there's 4 products. So that's something I would do right away as well.
The top brag bar too, just minimizing that to one line with an offer. I think you're trying to communicate a little too much there.
Ooh, why would you want to push them to this page? You're supposed to push them to an offer.
Yeah.
You're supposed to push them to like a bundle or something. So having this click, I thought it was unclickable, but it's clickable. I don't know how this is going to drive sales for you at all. Yeah, and so this is kind of like bringing them to a terms and conditions of sorts.
Yeah, shipping and storage is super important in the wine category, but driving them to that heavy text page is probably not the right answer. But you know, weaving that into the customer journey of like, you know, calming their fears of how is this being shipped, stored, all that kind of stuff is definitely valuable, but not sending them to that text heavy page.
Yep, I fully agree. So as we're moving down, I would get rid of this option because why would you ever want people to see this at once, right? So I would just delete this option here, delete this, like just delete both of these because you only want it 2 by 2 anyway, like always. So that's not something I really like need to test. I'm comfortable saying just go ahead and implement. I've just done it dozens of times. So another thing here, I know that these are scarcity, but the second I think of this, if you say there's 3 left here, but my brain says there's 1 of these 5s here, that sounds like bullshit to me. So I know that you guys are going for scarcity here. It's also the same as this color here, which you don't want. You want them to be unique. Choose 2 or 3 of your best sellers and do that scarcity there, right? So this kind of like ruins all credibility with me. Like, I don't believe you guys.
Are those SKU numbers?
Yeah, is that the SKU on the bottom, the JD 100? And is that relevant to be buying?
So.
Oh, wine rating.
Okay, perfect.
Interesting. Do most people know that? Does the average user know that?
I don't think so. So I would have rating with rating with the colon, and then have the rating. Because
You
the thing
said,
is, for
said wine sommeliers in the industry know that. So are you saying, Connor, that wine sommeliers are your primary customer?
yeah, so because they're really
That's a probably
like,
good, that's a good delineation here. Is like,
Yeah.
who is this website for? Is it
Oh
for
yeah,
the
I
rank
didn't
and
see the
file, or
price.
is it for the, you know, the wine
Yeah.
investor collectors, our audience? Okay, that changes things a little
Yeah.
bit.
Makes sense.
So what I would potentially do though is I don't know if this, so like the only 3 left, this stuff, maybe ditch that stuff, take the rating to the top up here if you're saying that's something that those people really care about. And that does make sense that that's your demographic for how expensive these are. So yeah, that does make sense, but just these, it's like scarcity for a $4,000 product does not really work too well.
Yeah.
Dylan, is there, I know, and I agree with you on almost every collection page, show them in rows of 2, show as many as you can to easily compare. In a price point like this, is there ever a situation where you're like, you know what, maybe we just give them each a full width product card so I can communicate a little more info about a $6,000 bottle of wine instead of displaying them like
I would
salt?
know because this is a heck of a lot more informational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be, you know? Yeah, there's a whole bunch. Oh, that took me to a new tab.
So,
completely.
okay, like I'll be devil's advocate here, Dylan. So like we're talking about conversion pages versus something that is for a high-end consumer. Does the high-end consumer expect a little more kind of design and like there's just like a certain level of taste that they want in the website, or do they want something where it's like, all right, I just want kind of like information at my fingertips so I can make a quick decision? Like, does the psychology of a buyer who's coming here, like a wine investor or connoisseur, like Connor is letting us know, does that change how we should be thinking about how this whole thing is designed, grid, and kind of to Sean's point, like how we view the products?
So the grid is the only thing. Like if they want to, let's say you want to see this bigger and closer up, just go here and now you can see it closer up, right? So and now it's easy to go back. Like, see how easy that was? Like I was able to just go and zoom in. Maybe if like zooming in and seeing the whole bottle is important, put those little zoom guys here. I actually was looking at a heat map the other day where I always thought those zoom things were total BS and just remove all of them. I saw one where there was a way higher revenue per click and higher revenue per session of people clicking those increases. Granted, it was a fashion brand, so people want to like see it up close. Like, I don't think for Rotten that would be very useful because they could see the packaging. Like, zooming in close to a wrapper is not going to really help you too much. But for this, like, I'm sure what's on here, especially to these high-end collectors, that is going to matter. So, I still would go 2x2 no matter what, because if they're looking here, they can see it big, but also the brand already had it defaulted to here. I would love to see it on a heat map. I would guarantee no one's clicking that guy right there. And it's also not intuitive. So
100%.
that's kind of what I would look at. Taylor, do you want to take the Taylor or Sean, do you guys want to take the perceptive of the high-end offer of the, high-end purchaser?
One thing I want to say on that scarcity model, because I'm reading what Connor's saying here. I feel like just the way that the tag is designed, it feels salesy, which I don't know if it matches with this customer. So like, I know the inventory is important. Maybe there's a better way to just put like, stock on hand or something. So it's more of like an informational thing and not an urgency type play. Cause I know what's going on here. There's one left. People are like, ooh, I got to get this, but maybe it's just kind of by where that, rating is. It's just quantity 1 or something, or like whatever the wording is for that, but make it less like a sales banner. And just more kind of like an informational in stock 1 or something like that, or remaining 1.
Yeah, I think also for this clientele, I feel like when it comes to design, it's more about the design detail, not being loud and sexy.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of inconsistencies here. Like this first product, as far as I know, there's not a grape named Palmer, so I'm guessing it's the wine name, does not tell me the grape. Second one tells me Krug Rosé. Third one doesn't tell me grape. Then the next one says Syrah. There's no hierarchy of information, like year, location, grape should all be separated. I mean, maybe these people come in knowing these wines by the back of their hand. Maybe that's the customer, but for me, it's very weird that there's just very little information here aside from kind of the the title of the product in some cases, and then some show the grape and some don't. Some don't even say a blend or specific grape. So that might be intentional, but I feel like there's a lot of inconsistencies in the information shown here.
All right, I wanna close this one off. Barry, do you have any thoughts on this one before we jump to the next website?
No, I just want to go back on Dylan's point to tell Dylan he's wrong. I'm just kidding. No, Dylan, I love what Dylan said about the zoom in function.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that, like, you know, there's so many things like this where you're like, oh, slash and burn, like, oh, that doesn't work. But like in certain contexts, it always does. Like you can find like, yeah, people really do want to zoom in to see what this text says. And that makes more sense when you have something that is zoomed out. So I just love the nuance of that stuff. I live in that nuance. So I just thought that was interesting. And going back to the shipping thing in the top bar before, yeah, get that link to anything else but that have that linking to anything else.
Yeah.
I thought that was really bad.
Love it. Well, hopefully that was worth your while. Let's go to Toodle Plus.
Yeah, thanks, Connor.
Awesome. Okay.
Spin to win.
To win. Oh man. Spin to wins are either the greatest or worst thing. They're like polar. But
Can
to win.
you expand on the spin to win? Because that's something that comes up a lot, and we always are like, it really depends on the brand, the price point, and your customer. But do you see it work really well? Do you see it not? Like, what's your take on it?
So I have a whole chapter in my book coming out in the next 6 to 8 weeks, hopefully, fingers crossed, but my editor is destroying me. So there's two types of pop-ups in my head. There's high volume, low intent, and there's low volume, high intent, right? So if someone scrolled 80% of the way down your page and consumed a lot of content, if that's when you trigger your pop-up, there's a lot less people that are going to see that pop-up and opt in, but those people, the quality is going to be really strong. There's some brands where you want to get as many people on your email list as possible, but you're fine with the volume making up for the lower intent, right? That's kind of like listicle advertorial versus straight to a buy box, which not knocking either. It's like, just depends on the brand. So the spin to wins, if it's more of a fun brand, kind of like this one's a little more fun than like a high-end wine, right? Like high-end wine should not spin to win at all. But something that's a little more fun, like Toodle Plus, like even the name, it's kind of more fun, right? So naturally, the more fun ones, you know, the spin to wins, I've seen some wild opt-in rates. I'm talking like 20, 25% on spin to wins.
Wow.
But people wanted to spin to win. They didn't want to, you know, like come here for a future discount or anything of the sort. So it's really fun and it's engaging. And what I found is sometimes the spin to wins actually work in engaging the customer further. Like I've watched sessions recordings where that whole thing pops up. They spin to win, they exit out, they don't even put in their email, and then they go on to buy. So it's like part of the journey of making it fun. So if it's like a supplement company, if it's, you know, Rotten, could actually kind of work, to be honest. Like it isn't the fun theme of the brands. So things that are naturally more fun and lighthearted, spin to win can work. Just know that your funnels, like, again, it's like the whole goal is to make, you know, your funnels work, like your email post-purchase funnels, like, or sorry, email opt-in funnels to actually work well. If there's more people and less of them are buying versus less people and more of them are buying, it ultimately comes down to what's the LTV of the people who are opting in. So that's my spiel on spin to win.
I don't see too many customized spins either. It's always kind of that same one. Like I feel like for Rotten, they could do a 6 spin to win that is really on brand. I don't know if the tech side enables that with these apps, but that's something to be cool.
Well, I'll look into it. Spin to lose. How about that? Spin to lose. That's what we would do.
That honestly, that's on brand. I love that. So Taylor,
everyone gets 0% discount.
It would work, I bet.
You get no gummies.
Yeah. No soup for you.
The website immediately closes.
Yeah.
That would be wild.
All right,
Taylor,
what do we think of this?
I have a few questions, or I mean, I have an opinion on this, but I'd like your take on this, Dylan. So I was actually talking to a customer about this morning, and they were saying, hey, you removed favorites from our site. Like, what the hell? Your team must have missed it. And I was like, no, your product is not something people are saving in like saving for next year's Christmas list. Like it's a $12 product, like just sell the damn thing and remove the interaction. And to be frank, for most products and sites outside of marketplaces, that's my sentiment with favorites. What's your take on favorites, especially here, where in my opinion, I'm trying to get them to the product page, not add more actions to the flow. And then the other question is, some of these product titles include men's, kids, otherwise, some don't. So there's an inconsistency there. And then what's your take on product titles running off page versus actually being the product title and showing it all?
Yeah, totally. I don't know if it's because I'm like, going this way, but I think it is that it's cut off. Yeah, you should definitely have line breaks here, like it shouldn't be cut off like Sean
It
had
does it
said.
on desktop too, so it's definitely how it is.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I fully agree. So think of a wish list, right? Like the types of things like Barry said, which I love the pushback is, there's things that are unconventional that can work. If they have a whole bunch of products, right? Like a ton of SKUs, you may be like, oh, I do like this shirt. I do like this shirt. I do like this shirt. And they're just trying to go through like, I don't know, 500 shirts and go back and see which ones they like. There is a world in which that works well. That's why I look at heat map, like, if it does lead to revenue eventually and they're using those, sweet, it works. But by default, way less often than more often does it help. So your brand can be an outlier, but it's safe to start without it. That's how I would say it. That's number one. So number two, why are all of these 16% off? That immediately makes me not trust you guys. That's no bueno. Even though they're all the same price. And honestly, that's also a little suspicious that every single one costs the same amount. I understand it's probably like, just either like print on demand or like certain things that you guys do in terms of like what's actually getting sent out, like what your product is. But yeah, the other thing too is look at this product. Like you see the gray backgrounds and then you don't see, it's pure white on all the rest. That's gray backgrounds, white on the rest, gray right there, white on the rest, full body shot. That's confusing. Body shot with the stool, that's extra confusing. Like you got to pick one, right? So, it's nice theoretically.
Hey, Dylan, can I ask a question?
Yes, you can.
Really, like, I'm not saying that this doesn't matter, but can you explain why that matters at all?
Yeah. So like, there's 2 here versus 1, but if you scroll here, I think it's 1, right? So the consistency of, okay, well, are they selling the jeans or are they selling the shirt? I don't know. Is the stool part of the purchase? Are the sunglasses part of it? Like, is it the jeans? Is it the shoes as well? Like, I have no idea. So it's because like all of them, you just see shirts and everything there. So having those inconsistent product images, like the other thing too, is these may look really nice because they have humans on them, but it makes the 2 on the left look a lot less attractive.
I think the way to think of it, and this is probably way overreaching any effect on conversion, to be honest with you, but the way to think of it is like, if you went to the Nike site and they had this beautiful, or Apple, this beautiful flow of products, and one of them was on a different colored background, you'd be like, you'd actually be caught off guard, even though you're not a designer, even though you're caught off guard, because it's so inconsistent for such a trusted brand, for such a dialed brand. And I think that more brands in direct to consumer, whether they're print on demand or actually building a brand, just need to focus more on those details, right? Getting to that point requires such a psychotic attention to detail. And even though it is a small thing and it probably won't affect conversion at the end of the day, building a brand and building trust is what increases conversion long-term. And so when I look at a page where everything's consistent, it tells me that they've put in the time and effort. Like the image that he's showing with the gray, I could screen cap that right now, drag it into remove.bg.com, and it's gone in like 4 seconds. So that tells me only one thing: the team is too lazy to do it. No offense to this site. Someone whose job was to do these photos was too lazy to change that background so that they were all the same. That's the only answer. Anyone can argue that's the only answer to that question. So,
I mean, I just shared a Nike page that literally has an image with a different color gray background. It's noticeable, and an image with 2 people wearing the shirt instead of 1. Like, so I'm with you. Like overall, I love consistency, but also like like no, like come
Barry,
on, like
those multiple units.
scroll, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There it is.
Yes, exact same thing though. Whoever did that photo
If
should
I
be.
was doing, yeah, if I was talking to Nike, I'd be like, hey, why are
Go
there
back
two
up.
here?
Go back up a little bit more. Go back up a little. That one right there, the gray one. You see it? Down, 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 down. Right there.
But that you're proving my point. This is just another lazy person on the Nike team. That doesn't mean it's working.
But worth
They're
standing
here
out.
for
Like
sure, and they're getting roasted.
they're like unintentionally thrown under the bus.
It's the subconscious that the consumers they're not going there and saying, oh, there's a big gray background, I'm not buying. It's just we're so used to consistency and brand.
But I don't think that a consumer scrolling through that page, that Nike page, like cares. Like I'm scrolling through it as a customer, and I don't care. Like it just doesn't.
Right, but I'm using that as an example of to prove the point. You and I both know, Barry, that if Nike has a 404 page, they're gonna find a way to buy their fucking shoes. Like if they land there and the product is literally laying on a pile of garbage, people will buy it. That was just an example. What I'm saying is the consistencies that built those brands is what got them there, right? Sure, maybe a photo slips through the cracks, but you can't tell me that you don't think Rotten will grow faster and stronger if they're not consistent with your assets.
No, I 100% do not think that is what is going to make things work or not. That's
no, I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm saying it's a factor and part of it.
I think it's very minor on the grand scheme of both this and Rotten. Like I really do think that, like, I agree with the consistency. And the thing I like about what you guys are saying, and I agree with fundamentally, is like, and Dylan touched on this nicely, and I wish Dylan, I wanted you to talk about it more, honestly, is like a lot of this is about perception, right? And that's what you're saying, like about Nike, right? Like it's about how people are perceiving it. And yeah, you can also, you're arguing that like Nike is a big known brand, so like they've earned that trust from the customer. And I would argue that like the lower, newer brand that doesn't have that earned trust yet needs to earn it by actually being consistent. And I can get on board with some of that. But overall, my point is, you know, I'm not sure that like that I buy into that, like everything needs to be perfect in line and consistent, because like it just can't, like it just doesn't have to be. And there's
I'll give you one, Barry, supporting what Sean's saying. Is there any downside in having it consistent? Do you think it's hurt?
Yes, there is. There's a huge downside to it, Dylan, and I'm thrilled you asked. And I hope you add this to your book. The big problem to keeping everything consistent is that if everything is consistently bad, then you will never, ever learn that there is a better way to do it. If having your, like having a slightly tighter crop, or having two versions of the product, two photos of the product in one, or having a slightly darker background, if something like that actually fundamentally could be helping, then yeah, having everything consistent, you'd never ever learn that. There, you'd have no opportunity for those happy accidents. And those happy accidents, I don't know about you, those happy accidents are where I've learned so much of what I've learned is through those happy accidents. So that's my only point.
I think those happy accidents just set your sales back before you followed what was supposed to be done, right? So it's like, what I would do is take two.
No, the opposite. I'm saying a lot of them come, you find out, oh, this one was selling better because it was the black sheep, right?
Well, you also don't know that's why. You know, getting into CRO is like, you know, even if the results and numbers are there, it's dangerous to say this is why this won. It might just be a superior product.
Right. No, I agree. My point was just that sometimes the thing standing out is what can work. You're like that, the fact that like Nike has multiple that have a grayer, darker background, and some other ones that don't have people in the clothes at all. It's just the lay flat or whatever it is. Like some of those can fundamentally work for different reasons, and you can't learn that those things work without trying them. Like if you have everything consistent.
But trying can be testing, and that's the only thing I push back on, which is
that's fair.
You know, like go for it, try all of that, just test it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Let's move on to some nothing fishy action here. Love the debate, boys. This is great. This is
Yeah,
what
this is
people came
Barry.
for.
Thank you. This is the first pushback. Usually there's
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah. Yeah. It's really like
energy.
it's very kind of
Need
That's
more
what I do,
Barry
boys.
cordial and like, yeah, we
That's
needed
what
to
I
bring,
do.
yeah, we need to bring the firebrand in here.
I'm so tired of y'all agreeing with each other and patting each other in the back. Let's have some. Let's get fired up and have some
Yeah.
fun here.
Sick. Okay. Chase, I'm gonna call on you.
Oh,
Show
wow.
that New York, LA love.
Okay. How do I feel about this? I mean, on a macro level, I feel decent. I think my big call out at the top is like I don't have a CTA here. This is a product page, right?
Yep.
Okay. Above the fold, I don't have like the buy box, everything is really low down. That product image is pretty massive. And I think some of this product information can probably put below the fold, along with this really huge quote from a customer. Like I want to get to, hey, I've seen this thing, I've seen an ad, I know what you're doing. Give me the price so that then I can let you know if I want to actually dig into more information. That would be my kind of big things from the jump. I also think this buy box is like huge. There's like a bunch of different things that people need to get through. Yeah. There's a lot of information to get through. Essentially, for me, there's a lot of cognitive load before I get to a button that actually turns into money. If I just had to TLDR it from the jump. What say you, gentlemen of the CRO?
A few things, at least me, when I loaded this page twice in a row, I got a pop-up instantly. So I love both Barry and Dylan's take on that. The next thing I would say, and again, love both your takes, is the primary headline here. The only thing it really tells me of value is how much milligrams it has. The rest is kind of just marketing fluff.
Yeah.
Is there any downside to just having that as a little tag on the image, or even Photoshop it onto that little label, like communicate it higher up so you're not adding that paragraph of text?
Yeah.
In the above the add to cart there, and then in that in the buy box where you're subscribing, I think it's just, for any brand, it's just focusing on the things that are actually adding value, right? Like yours, Barry, actually, I was on it just now, like the product page actually does a really good job of being like, oh fuck, if you subscribe, it's like legit benefits. And I think focusing on the ones that are like, it's true value, or if you scroll down, Chase, so like choose delivery for 30, 60 days. That's great to know, but like there's a drop down right below it saying that. So why say it twice?
Yeah.
Available to new and existing customers. It's like, that's name a subscription in the internet that's not available to new and existing customers. That's fucking nuts to me to say that. Like, why wouldn't it be available to everyone unless it's, like a gated community? So those two in particular just feel very superfluous.
Yeah. Another thing that's huge here is you guys are contradicting yourself. 60 soft gels. That, by the way, that looks like a typo. There's 2 S's. So fun fact there. But you're going 60 soft gels or 120 soft gels. Do I take 1 or 2 a day, or 3 or 4? I have no idea. This says delivery every 30 days. So I would rather you go with like 30-day supply and double down on that.
Ooh, rip.
His computer died. I saw the red in the corner and I was like, all right, let's see how Dilly is able to work this. So we'll
you
get
want to share, Chase?
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna grab this. Yeah, I'm gonna grab
Barry, what's your take on that? Like that first intro line to the product, it's half marketing fluff, half like specific details, pulling in that detail into the image and just deleting it.
Putting it into the image.
Like, I'm seeing a bunch of pills in a bottle. It's
Yeah.
kind of just a vanity image. Like, why not just say 200 milligrams of DHA or whatever it was, like right on the, even if it's Photoshopped on the label and it's not even reality, like just something that just communicates it there instead of having a paragraph of text to say it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so torn because, like, first of all, I hate supplement stuff, like just hate it as a consumer, and also as a marketer, I don't enjoy doing this stuff. But like, I love what Obvi has done in that they move a lot of their like relevant points above the image. The first thing you see on a PDP is like a relevant sentence to the consumer. And it's not just like, here's how many milligrams of something. No, it's like, here's your problem and here's how this will make you feel better and solve it. And like does it twice before you even get to the image. So I don't know if that's working or not, but I believe it is. And I like it as a consumer. I like it as a marketer who thinks that the messaging is getting to the consumer quicker. And I like this idea of putting that in the image as well to be able to better communicate quickly on a first glance. Because when I look at this, I see pretty picture of capsules that I really don't give a fucking shit about. And like is no different than any other capsule, except that this one's in a cute ass jar. Great. But like, I don't know what it does for me. I'm, you know, like there's also, this comes down to who your audience is. I don't know what omega-3 does and I don't care.
Yeah, totally.
So like, I'm going to not ever pay attention to this. And it just says brain, heart, and eye health. Like, I don't even know what that means. Like that, this all sounds like bullshit fluff to me. So I'm sorry. That's, you know,
but to that point,
that's
like,
just
going back on my own point there. Like, is moving the 200 milligrams to be more prominent and have any value if you're not communicating to the user how much they need to pay?
Yes and no, depending on your audience and their existing intent. This is a huge confusing thing in the space that I see. This is a big challenge all the time. By the way, whoever's sharing their screen is sharing the ultra widest screen in the world.
Are you in an IMAX theater, Chase? Like where the?
I'm on a what's it called? I'm on a 48 right now. That's why it's doing that.
Yeah, make it bigger. Can you just share the window, just the window or something? Jesus. Anyway,
I'll fix that.
Thanks. But like, I think when you look at these, like it's like there is intent for people that are already coming and want that omega-3, right? And like they're choosing that and they're already shopping for that. But if someone doesn't know what omega-3 does, then they need to better understand that. So it's really hard to know what your audience is already like needs to know and wants to know and what they value depending on different levels of intent, which then also comes to like, what is your traffic source? Is it Google search, which is high intent, or is it Facebook ads, which is lower intent? And either way about that, they're going to have a different need and perspective of what they need to see. And my bigger picture is what is the most relevant to everyone, people who know what they want and don't yet know what they want, is the impact on them, not the 200 milligrams. It's how this is going to improve your life, because that's relevant to anyone who's going to buy it, whether or not they know what omega-3 is or 200 milligrams of docosahexaenoic, I nailed it, acid. Like whether or not you know that. So that's what I think. That's why I like to use the relevant copy first and hit on that, and then get to the features and the benefits later.
Yeah, and it's a great way to approach hierarchy on PDPs, because you're just like that landing page we're talking about. Like every time you go through any page in your site, just go through the exercise. What if the user only saw that first section? What do they have to know? What if the next 80% only get to the 2 sections? What do they have to know? Like hitting them with that first shit right at the top. Like I love that, because you're guaranteeing every user is going to get the key information they need to purchase.
Yeah. And because you can't make separate PDPs for high intent and low intent customers. Like we can make landing pages for that. You can technically like make a landing page that is a PDP that's better tuned for colder audiences for Facebook. Like there are people that do that kind of stuff. But overall, like I would recommend making your PDP copy make more sense to those colder audiences. That's my preference. I would hope you guys would maybe have a good reason to disagree with that.
No, I agree. Dylan, I'm sure.
Dylan does.
If it appeals to new people, it'll appeal to existing people.
Dylan, I want to hug you. Yes, let's go. I love it. Mwah. I'll kiss you too.
So guys, we are at 15 minutes and I want to go to more of like a Q&A. So if people have questions, because we've gone through about four or five different websites. And I think we've exhausted that a little bit. People can send us their pages We'll give them private breakdowns, but I want to just see if anyone has Q&A about what we've talked about, what they're thinking about with their websites, any questions we can give kind of on a philosophical level, or any examples we can pull up as resources. So anyone have anything, drop it in the chat right now and we will dig in.
With no kindness.
Yeah, of course. This is not a place for this is the arena. Thoughts on landing on a site immediately and being hit with an email capture pop-up and cookie consent?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you said you wanted to dig into that, Taylor.
Yeah.
So
I'll just go pure consumer, like it's the worst. And it
I
feels
hate it.
super desperate. I get it.
But
I get it.
Chase, you're a marketer. You're not a
Yeah.
consumer. We're marketer consumers, like
No, but
you know, we're
actually
different.
when I opened up the last page to share my screen on the huge monitor that everyone loved, I got hit with 3 things: 2 pop-ups, Honey, which I somehow can't uninstall. I've like talked to their support team 3 times. It just lives in my computer now. And a cookie consent form. So I get 4 things before I actually looked at the product.
Bye, Dylan.
Bye. Absolutely not reviewing that product ever from that flow. Like that, those 4 things, it's just that's a no for me, dog.
what's your take on it, Barry, from a marketing perspective?
I just talked with a profitable growing brand that does no sales, does no pop-ups, does no emails. And I love it. So I love that so much. Like, I don't think every brand can pull that off. And I don't know is my real answer, right? I just don't. But I really do not enjoy anything. If anyone's listening, if you know me or don't, whatever, like, I really don't enjoy when people just do the thing because everyone's doing it, or because it's the best practice, or because whatever. I think that there's like a conspiracy of big email is like that has been, it's not really, but like that has been perpetuated for forever, because they have all these case studies and everything that, like, you capture an email and then you email them a lot and you get them to buy. But like, there's no way to really A/B test or cleanly compare that to just, what if you don't and you just get them to buy right now instead of like playing this game? And if they don't buy right now, then they don't buy right now, and that's fine. And they'll come back or they won't, but you're probably going to advertise to them again, so they're probably going to come back again at some point. So I think it's like big email kind of just has perpetuated this so that they can have, email agencies can make money, and email people can make money. I don't know. But I'm not convinced that like overall it is net positive for everyone.
I think, and to think of it, I agree with all that. I think on a more like macro view, for me at least, and again, I always come from the brand perspective. Like, if you're launching a brand to just be, Fiverr logo, Amazon reseller, make a quick million, exit 2 years later, and not even exit, just shut it down. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's a great way to make money, and there's a ton of opportunity for it.
Sure.
Those brands, hit them with 1,000 discounts, because it doesn't matter. Long-term, your brand's going to die, and you know that, and we all know that. If you're building a real brand, I don't want to walk in the store and have people waving coupons in my face. It just tells me you don't have confidence in the price of your product, the quality of your product.
Right. You're
assuming instantly, I'm going to need to offer it cheaper. Well, then just fucking price it cheaper in the first place, because it's just cheapening the brand. So for me, it's very much having an honest look at your product and being like, am I in this for the long haul? Because for me, long haul means not peppering them with discounts. And there's no right answer. Like, if you're doing the Amazon reseller brand, great, it's no problem with that. But for me, it's kind of cheesy, not cheesy.
I want to add, like, I agree with what you're saying, and I want to call out, like, I'm not saying email marketing is worthless. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying from an customer acquisition standpoint, purely, I'm not 100% convinced that that forcing people into emails via discounts or via like the promise of some, I definitely don't think it's good when you're offering a chance to win a product for free. That's a great way to get tons of leads that will never ever buy because they're just hoping to get it for free. But like, I just don't love it as a user acquisition tool. I do love it as a retention tool and a way to get people to buy and buy again. I'm a huge fan of it. And I think it's extremely important because what I don't want to do is spend more money to get my existing customers back. So I just want to make sure that was clear, because I agree with what you're saying. I find it to be a distraction. If I have a listicle like the rotten one, and say what you want if you think the listicle is dumb for a gummy worm brand, okay. But I think it works well. It communicates quickly. But what I don't want is a pop-up to come up on that page when someone's reading and I have them zoned in on the content that I want them consuming right now to get them to buy right now. I don't want a pop-up getting in the way of that. I think it's a distraction, and I think it's a detraction as well.
Okay, we had another question about sticky add to carts, being above the fold and then scrolling with people. How do we feel about these in general? I find that it's kind of like the rollout when the unfurling checkout. Like, I think a lot of people like it because it's real slick and it looks cool and it's like a fun design thing. I'm not sure kind of in terms of the functional. I have the data on this, but I'm curious just on a pure, if you had to shoot off the cuff, what do you guys think of that?
I know I'm positive Barry has a strong opinion on this, but I'll
it's not a strong one. I have a loose one. I'm ready for it though.
I think that it very much going back to like how Barry mentioned, thinking through where the traffic came from, what were they informed about, like being more intentional about what you surface based on where they came from and how much info they have. It's very similar with add to carts for me, and sticky add to carts. In general, if they land on your product page, there's likely, depending where they came from, still a little more info that they need. So to hit them with a product image and an add to cart is crazy to me. You know, Amazon, sites like that, marketplaces where I'm buying 100 little things, it can make sense. I know Dylan has always said there's the data supports that they, at least if you're gonna do it, it has to be after they see the add to cart on page, because then you're surfacing all the key info before they get there. So for me, it's just a distraction. And we don't generally recommend it unless you're already past the add to cart on page. But again, there's tons of situations I'm sure that would prove me wrong.
Yeah, I think I like it in premise. I haven't fully tested it. I'm just going to show you. I want to make sure we're talking about the same thing. Can you see my screen here? This little you're talking about this button right here, like a sticky add to cart, right?
Yeah.
So I like this from a user perspective. The thing that I just like about it, and again, I haven't A/B tested this. We just added this to our site here like this. The thing I like about it is because that's where my thumb is. And I like seeing I've seen lots of website optimizations, mobile optimizations lately that have better catered to thumb. I have a huge phone, right? Like the last thing I want to do is reach my thumb all the way up here. That's actually like physically getting in the way of me taking an action. So to have it right where my thumb already is, I think is a benefit. And I think, does that really matter performance wise here? I don't know. But I like the thought. I like that it is a seemingly improvement, making it easier for a user to take the action that you want them to take and keeping it there so that you can just mash it rather than having to find it and tap it. I think it is good in that way.
I totally agree, but just to use that exact example for what I was saying is, if they hit that and they just landed on that page, by not having it pop up until after they've read enough information, you're making them subscribe and they had no idea they're subscribed.
Oh, I love what you're saying. Okay. And I hate that. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I fucking hate that. Fortunately, let me show you real quick. It's on this. That's a really great point. And I might totally change it. So they just mash add to cart. Oh God, this is already jammed with my cart's full. Sorry. I was going to show you how easy, how it would be clear that it shows the, like that
Which
it is
isn't, I
subscribed,
can't
and you
necessarily
can
say
opt
it's
out of
not
it.
gonna work.
Yeah, but I'm just going to show that you can like here. It should show right here. And it says every 30 days, and then you can
Right.
easily switch it.
Yeah,
So
and
like,
that's actually pretty clear.
I think so, but your feedback is super valid. I personally do not enjoy forcing the subscription first. I actually hate this, and we haven't A/B tested this. I know I've talked with like Ash from Obby. I think he said that they did better when they didn't force the subscription. So I'm with you about that. That is kind of deceptive to have that button there and have it default to subscriptions. Not
Yeah.
ideal.
Okay, we're at the last one. Let's see. Let's do one final quick question. Let's see. We did sticky. Okay, someone agrees with you very much, Barry. That's really nice.
Good, because someone else told me I'm an idiot before. So
for a beauty brand, is it better to have a product render, plain white background as the first image, or a lifestyle image, application or texture shot for product listing? I think this is like a macro question in general, though, which I quite like.
I'll give my perspective on any product really that has packaging and volume related to their product. That's really critical. I think the only reason, and I would say the same thing for yours actually, Barry, and it's one of the things I was going to send you after this call, is in-sizing images is so critical. Every brand thinks they're the exception where they can just say 50 mil, 100 mil, 200 mil, 50 gram, and every user just has this magical visual in their head of how many fucking worms that is, or how much shampoo that is, or how much. They don't. They absolutely don't. None of them do. So on products like that, it depends if the image shows in-sizing, which is are you giving them a reference point so it's clear to understand how big it is, how much volume there is, how many worms there are. It's so important. And so it's not necessarily of like, is it static? Is it not? Is it lifestyle? It's more, is it communicating enough is what's more important to me, not what the background is, if that makes sense. I don't know if you agree with that, Barry.
Maybe I missed the context of the question. Can you give it to me quick again, Chase? I'm so sorry.
You're on mute, Chase.
I'm muted, man. I came in hot too. For a beauty brand, is it better to have a product render, plain white background as a first image, or a lifestyle image?
No,
Application
neither.
For product listing.
Yeah. I want to go back to what we said earlier. Thank you for refreshing me. I want something with text on it. Unless wait. The thing that this depends on is how ambiguous or unambiguous the image is, right? The gummy worms, you see they're gummy worms, okay? Maybe you see the gummy worms and don't know how they're differentiated, so that's a problem, right? So that it's not unambiguous, it's not clear. So if you can add something to that straight up image, I do think it's worthwhile. And I've had this argument with Raba, and I think with you, Chase, before, that like, you're never going to see like Tiffany put a white background with the product and then put a text overlay on it. Like but at the same time, you don't need to if you're Tiffany, right? So it's a lot about context. It's a lot about what people already know about the brand, about the product, and what they don't know. So if you can put text overlays there, I've definitely seen some kind of more aggressive performance brands being more aggressive about putting text overlays on it. And I bet it works better, but I can't guarantee it.
Okay. Daiquiris, guys. So we're gonna close it up. We're gonna close it up now. If anyone gets that reference, you're my favorite person in the world. Thank you, Barry. So where you find Barry? He has a newsletter. Barry, you want to put that in the chat for everyone if they want to subscribe? Incredible.
Yeah,
He did a great write-up this last week about outages on Facebook. Incredibly useful. Obviously, follow him, Bing Hot, on the Twitter. He's or X, excuse me. He's incredible on there. Amazing follow. And check out some rotten gummies at eatrotten.com. Audit.
Yeah.
Follow
Sean Brandify. How do I say it properly?
Brantify. I'm also realizing it says I'm Taylor for everyone.
Brantifi.
Yeah. Check out Audit. Incredible. I have not had one person who has gone who I've referred gone to Audit have a problem. They always come back and say like, my God, my website looks so great, and they did it in such a short time. So check them out. They have an amazing newsletter that I linked earlier called The Perspective. I read it religiously every time that it comes out, along with Barry's. I don't actually do my job. I just read newsletters. And then check out heatmap.com if you want some data around some of the amazing things that these guys are sharing with you on ads and what's coming from the traffic at heatmap.com. We also have our newsletter Conversion Party. We talk about LPs and different things on a weekly basis. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Barry, thanks for joining us and giving us the ability to look at Rotten.
Thank you.
Sean, thank you, and Taylor for coming in and just dropping the dimes like you do. It's amazing. And there will be a replay link. We'll send this out to everybody.
Awesome. Thanks,
All right.
Chase. Thanks a lot, Barry.
Everyone.
Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.